day, happy day, happy day, happy day, and welcome to the Sheila C Hill Show. And that C stands for come on in this room and have a sit down so we can chit chat just for a little while. Listen, the Sheila C Hill Show is the ultimate go-to podcast to help you improve your lifestyle, grow your business, or enhance your emotional well-being. And in every episode, you're going to receive practical tips and insightful wisdom in the company of a supportive community whom I call Sheila's Thrive Tribe, because we thrive over here, okay? So listen, to join the Thrive Tribe, you just subscribe, that's all. And tell mom and them to subscribe too, and tell them the Sheila C Hill Show is on for you. You will not regret it. But if you are new to the show, welcome. I am your host, Sheila C Hill. Hello, hola, bonjour, como esta, ni hao, howdy, and what's going on, my people? So glad that you are here, new to the show, but just don't forget to click that subscribe and follow button, okay? All right, so listen, I love bringing wonderful guests on, and I always tell you that I have the best guest in the land, and today is not going to disappoint. Listen, our namesakes, we have the same name, so we are special. It's the double force of the Sheila. So at this time, we do have Dr. Sheila Cherry. Listen, let me tell you a little about her first, because woo, baby, let me told you. All right. So Dr. Sheila Cherry brings a unique perspective to the table as a seasoned small business owner. Listen, she has navigated the entrepreneur landscape for over 15 years. Despite the challenges of juggling multiple companies, she has maintained a delicate balance while fulfilling her roles as a devoted wife, a mother of two homeschooled children. That's a whole episode by itself, because I used to be a homeschool mom too. Yes. But in 2022, Sheila faced a significant turning point when she encountered severe burnout, prompting her to make the crucial decision for her well-being and professional growth. Her journey of self-discovery and resilience led her to fire herself from one company and embark on an 8-month hiatus from the other. But through this experience, Sheila gained valuable insights into the factors contributing to the burnout and the importance of prioritizing mental health. Y'all know that's big around here. So as the co-founder of Career Volt, Sheila is dedicated to accelerating career success for scientific researchers through her coaching, consulting, and skills workshops. Additionally, her role as the founder of Fresh Eyes Editing, which I know a little about that, she helped me out, underscores her commitment to enhancing communication within the scientific community worldwide. Now, with a PhD in genetics and a certification as an executive coach, Sheila brings in a wealth of knowledge and expertise to the conversation, which we're going to get started now. We're going to bring Dr. Sheila Cherry to the stage. Come on to the stage. Woo!
Hello. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction.
You're welcome. Oh my goodness. It's like, you have so much knowledge and there's so many different layers. I am so excited that you're here. So we're going to get started. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what do you prefer me to call you? Dr. Sheila, Dr. Cherry, Sheila Cherry. What do you prefer?
Sheila is just fine.
Okay. Oh, Sheila. It's the two Sheilas here today. All right. All right. So my question, can you elaborate, because your bio is really awesome, and very inspiring. But can you elaborate on your experience with severe burnout when you mentioned that in 2022? What were some of the key factors that contributed to this burnout, and how did you recognize the symptoms?
Ooh, okay. Where to start with that?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, at the time, I thought the burnout was coming from the factors around me as an external thing that was pushing on me. So, um, I was doing a lot of things like saying, clients are doing this or that, or expecting this or that, or um, we're having staffing issues that are causing this or that. But I was really not recognizing that the source or the allower, if you will, of most of these problems was actually me. And so I was very much in a victim mentality, um, not recognizing how much power I had in the situation to change what I was experiencing. And I want to pause for a second and say that lots of people experience burnout. And for some of them, it is external factors that are outside of their control. So I don't want to downplay the contributions of things that are beyond an individual's control that's causing or propelling their experience. But on my side, I had given up all of my power. And so I was doing things like increasing the number of hours that I worked every week, trying to fill in all the gaps in staffing on my own, because this was all happening at the same time as the pandemic. And so the company that I'm currently in and focusing on is Career Volt. We launched our services in March 2020. So basically, as the pandemic was happening, that business was taking off, while Fresh Eyes, the first business I founded, was exploding because of changes in the way that the scientists we supported were working. They were out of their research labs and doing a lot more writing, and we couldn't keep up. And so I kept trying to stretch myself further and further to fill all of those gaps. And I definitely recognized the symptoms. I would be sitting at my computer working with tears streaming down my face. Yes, I would be driving in the car somewhere with tears streaming down my face. I didn't always even notice that it was happening. It was just like silent tears. I kind of look back at it now as, all of the stuff that was welling up inside was just leaking out from somewhere. And it wasn't a conscious decision like, oh, I'm going to cry this out. It just was coming out. But I was gradually, for a period of probably about 2 years, turning into a husk of a person. I didn't laugh much. I couldn't take joy in a lot of things. I was not sleeping. I was sleeping very minimally and very poorly when I did sleep. I was giving up all of my interests and hobbies, and certainly damaging a lot of relationships at the same time, not spending as much or as quality time with my family. And even when I was, talking with friends or other family members, most of what I was doing was complaining about how hard things were with work. And I'm sure they were sick of listening to that over and over again. And it got really bad in about the early part of 2022. And I've had a coach for a long time. I feel like it's been a really important part of both my business growth and my personal growth. And I was speaking with my coach, pretty much every time we talked, I cried, right? And I was speaking with her and she said, pause, let me ask you a question. And she said, what would happen if, something bizarre occurred and you got bitten by an insect or something and immediately fell into a coma and had to go into the hospital for a week? And she said, this is an extreme example, but at the end of this coma, you're going to wake up and be just fine. But tell me what happens if that kind of extreme example occurred. And I immediately went to, well, I would be in breach of contract because I wouldn't be able to fulfill this thing. And what would happen to these projects? And she went, hold on, do you even hear yourself? You're not talking about like, would my kids be okay? And how's my family going to make it? And how worried they're going to be? You're talking about like not fulfilling a contract. And that was really an eye opener for me because I realized how much I was thinking about work constantly to the point where I didn't have any space left for anything else. And it was taking up all of my being.
Wow. 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 That was a great example to demonstrate how engrossed you was with the work piece of it and so driven. And a lot of times we just get stuck there. We don't even know that we're there. I mean, definitely that was some signs with the tears just rolling down and just happen chance as we call it. So what type of okay, so you've undergone the process of healing from burnout, but what is the specific internal work did you have to engage in to get to this point now?
Um, there's been a lot and it's ongoing. I feel like it's
Okay.
always going to be ongoing. One of the first things I had to do was to allow myself to feel all of those things that I had been stuffing down. And boy, was that hard because I didn't realize how much I was not feeling my feelings. And, when I said I wasn't really experiencing joy or laughing very much anymore, I think it was because I had so many bad feelings that I was stuffing down that I also had to suppress the good ones. Right. So,
Mm,
um, I was kind of in a flat existence at that point. So opening that well and starting to feel my feelings again was incredibly uncomfortable because it meant that there was a lot of stuff that I hadn't been processing that I had to
mhm.
actually go back and inspect and look at. Um, the good side of that is that it started allowing me to feel joy again, right? Because I was not just holding everything inside. The other internal work was around recognizing what were the factors inside of me that were driving me to do these things, to say yes to almost every client request that came in, to make accommodations for all my staff so that they wouldn't feel any pressure or, um, you know, uncomfortableness, but taking it all on myself. Um, Part of it is recognizing where my ego was coming in. So, I'm an ambitious person. I was using that ambition in a way to drive me to do more and more a lot. And that ego was really hard to tamp down. You know, oh, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, or this
Yeah.
person said only I can solve this problem. And letting those things feed into myself as more reason to keep saying, yes, yes,
Mm,
I'll do this. And not recognizing most of the opportunities are going to come around again because that's a scarcity mindset, right? Like this is
right.
a once in a life. How many things are truly once in a lifetime? Not very many, right?
Mm-mm.
Um, and battling kind of the people pleaser. Uh, I've always viewed myself as the helper. If someone needs help, if there's a problem that I can solve, I'm I'm likely to volunteer to do that, and not recognizing that there's a tipping point. You can't always step in and do that
Right.
because then you have nothing left to give anywhere else. And I was always putting myself last as well. So, not doing the things to take care of myself, not admitting to myself when I was overstretched or needed a break, seeing a break as a weakness instead of an important strength, to keep me going. Oh, I told you there was a lot. There are so many
Honey, let me
things.
listen. I have to get my clapper because listen, baby, you was hitting some key points. So many people deal with this exactly what you're saying, but they're not true to themselves to do that internal work because it's ugly. It's not pretty, right? Okay, go ahead,
It's
girl.
uncomfortable. It's incredibly
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
It is very hard. It took me, so I took a whole 8 months off. I have a business partner in Careerville who's amazing, Dr. Jessica Lurch. She kept everything not only running, but growing while I took this
Okay.
time to heal, which was an amazing gift. I don't know how I would have gotten that space without her
Mm,
really unwavering support. And she's still watching out for me, like on the daily. She's checking in. Are you taking on too much? Maybe you should reconsider this, because she knows how difficult that experience was for me. But over that 8 months, it probably took me 3 or 4 months just to start ramping down from that go, 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 do all the time. I really had no concept of how to just be, how to be in the moment, how to not be thinking about productivity as like a defining factor of myself. And how to I really had to reestablish what my worth as a human was. That's not attached to my contribution in work and productivity. And that maybe is one of the hardest pieces. I'm still working on that.
Okay, so it's a work in progress, right?
Oh,
even though you're better and you have the skills to help other people who are in this situation as well. So what strategies or practices that you find helpful in just managing it all, just managing your mental health and preventing the future burnout?
Oh, managing the mental health. So I've had to really shift my way of thinking about doing things for myself as not being selfish, as being essential. So what I can recognize, hindsight is 2020. What I can recognize at this point is that I thought that, I could just keep going, and that's how I operate. I just keep going.
Okay.
Now I recognize that I was nowhere near my best self in that version. And, I did keep going for a while, but then how useful or helpful or I don't want to say valuable, how
Productive.
to other people I could be was declining, because I couldn't function at that level forever. So I really have to look at, making sure that I stay with the hobbies that I enjoy and make time and space for them. Because if work gets busier, those are the things that I would normally go, oh, I'll just not do this right now. So I have to actually make those a priority and recognize that they are giving me the well-being to actually show up well in work and in the other parts of my life.
Hold on, that's a bar. The well-being to show up well in work. Come on. I might have to tweet that. Dr. Sheila Cherry. I mean, that's amazing, because we wear so many hats. We do so much. But a lot of times we use the excuse, this is just how I am wired. I am a go-getter. This is just me. And, I'm up all hours. People like, why don't you ever sleep? I'm like, my mind is going, especially if you're creative and, your mind is going and all of this. But then we don't take the time and say, wait, this ain't right. I may be ambitious. However, I am wearing myself out and I'm not putting myself first as far as my mental health and my well-being, and I need self-care. And as we always hear, self-care is not selfish. But in that process, how do we recognize, other than just saying, oh, this is just how I'm wired, how do we recognize the signs of burnout just early on, so we can be proactive?
That's a great question. And I think, one of the spaces this straddles is that burnout's not per se a mental health disorder, but it is recognized as an issue in the mental health community, right? And so they have a very specific definition of what that could look like. I can only speak for myself what it looked like for me. And at first, it just looked like working more and doing less of the other things that were important in my life, to the point where it started to be, working every evening, tucking my kids in at night. And while I'm singing them a lullaby, thinking, how much longer is this going to take? Because I got to get back to work. I have things I need to finish. Until I was also working both days of the weekends and taking my laptop with me on vacation. Periods of time where, we're kind of in the hustle where we're working more are okay, but not to the point where that's the normal, the everyday. It's not sustainable that way. And so as that trend, I think, increased, the things it started to look like for me was feeling guilty when I wasn't working and feeling guilty when I was with my family thinking about work. Like it was kind of a double-edged sword because I would try to take that break from work, but then I would feel a lot of guilt that I wasn't getting the work done. Or conversely, feeling guilty when I was working and had disappointed my family yet again, as an example. Starting to feel, kind of those more intense, what we think of as negative emotions, which are really not. But, getting irritated very easily, starting to lose my compassion toward other people. And I feel like compassion is one of the central things that makes me me. And for that piece to be eroding was, pretty obvious red flag. Like I have no patience with anyone anymore. How can this be happening? The poor sleep, I think, was another big red flag that I ignored for a long time. Being so tired that I would fall asleep as soon as I hit the pillow, but then wake up an hour later with the brain just going and going and going, and then not being able to go back to sleep. Having to live my days, caffeine in the morning and then something herbal tea or something at night to help me go to sleep. These were all patterns that I ignored for a long time.
Those are definitely some major red flags that we have to stop and pause so we won't get into that situation. Or if anyone who's listening, you can identify, then that's why it's so important to learn from Dr. Cherry, because listen, she's been through it. So now she's here to help and give us the steps that we need and the blueprint that we need to get out of it. So I have another question. Before we go to break, I'm just going to mention a question so you can think about it. When you was returning to work after experiencing the burnout, I know that was challenging, but how did you navigate that transition back into your professional life? So hold that thought, and we're going to go to a commercial break. Because listen, it's all about getting back into the saddle once you heal from that burnout. At this time, we're going to have a commercial break.
Are you feeling overwhelmed with projects to build your business? Search no more. Introducing Borrow My VA, a virtual assistant service, your one-stop solution to bid farewell to stress and manage multiple tasks with very little effort. We specialize in website building, funnel creation, automations, and email marketing, all under one roof. And here's the best part. We provide all these incredible services at budget-friendly rates. Discover a hassle-free way to handle your projects. No more worries about onboarding or finding that perfect virtual assistant. Our team is all set to tackle your task with efficiency. Now, once you delegate the task, consider it done. Say goodbye to overwhelm. Don't miss this fantastic opportunity to elevate your business. Join our list of satisfied customers and book a free consultation today at borrowmyva.com. That's borrowmyva.com.
Thank you, borrowmyva.com, for sponsoring this segment on today, where we were talking with Dr. Sheila Cherry. And listen, she's talking all about burnout in the entrepreneur space, workspace, and the red flags that, listen, we need to avoid. So we're going to use her as she's an experiment, and she has the blueprint of how we can avoid burnout. So welcome back to the stage, Dr. Sheila Cherry. So my question before the break is, as you fired yourself, which that is really cute. You fired yourself and then you took an 8-month hiatus from the other company, but getting back into the saddle, like how did you navigate that transition back into your professional life?
I will be honest, it was really scary.
Okay.
And, this long journey, what I see is a long journey, although I guess in the arc of life, 8 months is not that long. but it was a big break from work for someone who started working as a, 14-year-old and never took time off. It was really scary going back because once I recognized that the reason I experienced burnout was largely driven by my own behaviors, I started to feel like perhaps I wasn't ready to face those behaviors or to be successful in implementing the new behaviors that I set up. And, again, my business partner is fantastic and was very open to me kind of easing my way back in. So initially what I did was I returned part-time. I took one client on at a time over a period of a few months. So I was sort of just easing back in over that time period. And that gave me the room to experiment with what kind of guardrails I needed to have around work so that I would not fall back into those old patterns of, saying yes to everything, extending my work days, taking on more clients than I might be able to handle at one time. And I'll admit every once in a while I find myself kind of falling back into those old behaviors. So, one of the things that I did when I started back was that I did not have my email accessible on my phone so that I would only be able to check it when I was at my laptop. But then I would move my laptop to a really visible part of my house. I work from home all the time. And so I would find, I'd get up in the morning and there's the laptop on the kitchen counter. I'll just check my email now. So I had to keep my laptop living on my desk in my office all the time so that the temptation, if it's there, I actually have to make the effort to go into that room and face the computer. But then over time, I put my email back on my phone because I felt like, but I need to check it if I'm on the go. And then a few months ago, I went, nope, I'm doing the thing again. I wake up, I grab my phone off the nightstand. I'm checking my work email at 6 a.m. This is no good. So I deleted it from my phone again and haven't gone back. It seems like a constant. I have to constantly check in with myself. What am I doing? And is it working for me? Things like if 5 o'clock comes and I've decided that's my end time, I've got to end, even if I didn't finish the task I was working on. That's
that's hard. Wait, that's hard.
It is very hard.
Oh my gosh.
It is very hard. But I have my kids, they're teenagers now, and they experienced this burnout with me, right alongside me. It was a really hard time for my whole family. And so they'll walk into my office and they'll be like, Mom, you know what time it is? Come on. So they're kind of helping me keep the guardrails in place too.
That's great to have them. That reminds my daughters, the teenagers that are here. And they'll say that you're always on your computer. You're always on your laptop. Mom, you always work. Let's just watch a movie. And that was some of the things that made me feel guilty. And then like you were saying, watching the movie is like, okay, hurry up movie. I need to get back. I might get my phone and sort of cheat a little bit. But that having that time and it's so important because the children, before you know it, they'll be out. You'll be an empty nester and you'll miss all that time. But now, okay, listen, you must have an S on your chest because Superwoman, other than it don't stand for Sheila, it stands for Superwoman because you balance business ownership with homeschooling your children. What? What? Okay, so tell me, because when I homeschool, it was just homeschool and that was enough by itself. What strategies or techniques have you found effective in maintaining the harmony between these two, work and homeschooling?
I don't know if I've had one consistent strategy.
Okay.
I started my first business when my oldest was 1 and I was pregnant with the second. And that business kind of grew in tandem as the babies were growing. And at that time, the juggling looked a lot like I would have work time early in the morning, then I would have kid time and homeschool time. And then during nap times or sort of afternoon downtime for them, I would do another big chunk of work time. I would work again after they went to sleep. So my work hours were really irregular. And I would work a lot of on the weekends when my spouse was around to help out. But that worked okay for me at that time because I was having a lot of time during the weekdays where I was able to engage with them really actively. As the kids got older and the business got busier, making sure that I had sufficient support became more and more essential because I couldn't carry everything on my own. So finding co-ops or activities that the kids could participate in for a chunk of time while I also worked. My community of women across the years has been so invaluable between either helping with the kids or supporting me emotionally. And even in business growth, as I've encountered different challenges on the way, has really been essential. And growing my team and recognizing if there's space that I need to have somebody else doing the work. So who can I trust and add to the team to help me be able to fulfill the work demands while also, doing the things I need to do for my family. And of course, the kids got increasingly more independent as they got older. Yeah. So that has helped a lot. This year, my oldest actually decided he wanted to go to school. So he's doing his first year of schooling as a 15-year-old. And he's thriving. It's going really well. My younger one is still homeschooling. Yeah. It's been very rewarding to see how well he is thriving in that setting after not doing it ever before. So that's been really good.
That's awesome. But that's a true testament to your dedication as being a homeschool parent. You prepare them. I believe homeschoolers are over prepared.
Yes.
Once they get into that setting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm biased, so. So that's great that he's thriving. Okay, so listen, it's so much. Now, with what you have been through, and I always tell people you can really be impactful when you share where you've been, when you share your story, when you share the heartaches, and it makes you more relatable, because a lot of times people see the big, oh, she's a doctor or she got it going on. She has several businesses and they're thriving and all of this, but they don't understand the behind the story. So having this behind the story that is so relatable and it reaches so many entrepreneurs, I'm seeing like a burnout conference. Is there something that you're looking towards that you can actually help entrepreneurs, like with your story? You're writing a book, you can edit it yourself since you're editor. And is there something that you're going to offer like entrepreneurs? Is that something that you're leaning towards, or you're just too busy right now?
It's a great question. It's not a matter of being too busy necessarily, although, of course, I'm really attentive to not taking on too much. The truth is that initially when I started this experience, I was actually ashamed to tell people. And part of that was, feeling like I failed or I did something wrong or I couldn't handle it. And I didn't really want people to know that side, right? But of course, as I've come through it, I recognize the value of being able to talk about it. So it's really only been, the last maybe 8 or 9 months that I've started talking about it a lot more.
Wow. Okay.
And I do feel this drive inside of me of, you've got to share this story. What you experienced could help someone else avoid going down this road that has been truly painful. And from the other side of it, I could say I would not do things anything different. I would experience all of that again because I think it was essential for me to get where I am now. And yet it was incredibly painful and difficult. And I would love to have anyone else avoid going down that road if at all possible. And honestly, it could have turned out with a different ending because I was in a really bad place. So I do feel a drive to tell the story more. I just don't know what direction or what shape that's taking yet. But time will tell.
Well, this is definitely a great platform on the Sheila C Hill Show, baby, because listen, We are an international show, so we do, focus on lifestyle, entrepreneurship, and mental health. So a lot of our audience are entrepreneurs who need these tools to identify the red flags, to be honest with yourself, to do the personal work, to understand, it's just not how you're made up. You're just going and not taking that time. So all the tools that you've given will definitely help. I can really see it in the book, though. I can really see you teaching it, but I ain't gonna push you. Anywho.
Well, if I could say, I have started teaching it in some respect. So the clients that we work with are research scientists, but you can think of them as operating like small business owners within a university, because they really have to implement all of the pieces of their research program kind of in the same way that small business owners do. And just last month, and getting ready to do it again, we provided a training on time and overwhelm management that is trying to equip them with tools and strategies, as well as recognizing and reclaiming their own power in how their days go and how they achieve their priorities. Because I really, again, I want to keep anybody from going down that road. And these are individuals who are just as susceptible as small business owners and kind of anybody else to experience burnout.
So is this a virtual event?
It is. Yeah. We do a 2-day event virtually. The next one, it's 2 hours each day, is coming up in a few weeks.
Okay. So we can we'll have the contact information if anyone wants to participate in that 2-day event. They can click the link and get going. And sure. Yeah, definitely so. Okay, we'll do that, because that is definitely a need. And then from there, just hitting the pain points by itself is huge. When you see someone's pain point and then offering a solution, that's key. And telling your story actually helps in the solution. So thank you for being brave and telling your story and being transparent and helping, because so many people will just take it to the grave. They'll be like, I ain't happy. I barely made it. I'm over in the corner shaking because I cannot deal with it, but I put on this facade. And that's another thing. And I always tell people, don't focus on social media. These people, the life that they're painting, they're not showing you the bad. They're not showing you the times that they're crying late at night and don't know how they're going to make it, or they just want to jump off of a bridge just to get some relief. They're not showing that. So we need people who have been through it to show us and tell us, like, this is real. Take advantage of the opportunity that I've already been through it and I can help you. So thank you for paying it forward in a sense. It's so important. And entrepreneurs by itself is just special to me, because I've been an entrepreneur for so long. But to understand that there is hope and there's someone who's paved the way for us and say, hey, I can help you. So you all check out Dr. Sheila Cherry for some help, and also join her 2-day event, because you will not regret it. So Dr. Sheila Cherry, any last words, any last inspirations you want to leave our audience with today?
Sure. I think maybe 2 things. One is, if any of my story resonated with you and you feel like maybe you were seeing some of those red flags, recognize your power to interrupt that and take your power back, and get whatever help and support you need to turn things around. So you can come out of it, and recognize that you have the power to advance that solution. And now I don't remember what the other thing was going to be, so maybe that's it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, because listen, you've said enough, and we can really resonate with so many things that you did say. Thank you for coming on. I mean, just to listen, how many continents have you been on sharing your story, your scientific? 6 continents communicate your research more effectively. What?
Yeah. So our clients at Fresh Eyes Editing, we reached 6 continents. So we had clients everywhere but Antarctica.
What?
Yeah.
Amazing. feel so honored, extra honored now. That's amazing. I just saw that in the notes. I was like, wait a minute, hold on, let's talk about that. Okay, awesome. So are you still taking clients for that, or you just work with the niche of the scientists?
So I literally did fire myself from Fresh Eyes. And one of my longtime employees, who's an amazing editor, actually took over a part of our client book. So she has established that under her own company. It's called Contrast Communications. And she's phenomenal. And I'm still in very close, regular contact with her. But yep, I fired myself and I moved forward.
Awesome. Congratulations to you, and so inspiring. I'm going to take you backstage and close out. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, I told you guys we're going to have the best guest in the land, and Dr. Sheila Cherry is really so inspirational. So listen, her contact information, contact her on LinkedIn. The link is in the show notes, and also information about her 2-day event that can help you. So just know that everything that was shared today, and I'm so thankful that she was transparent, because a lot of times people sugarcoat it and make it seem like, oh, it's just so beautiful and everyone should be a business owner. Don't believe the hype. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of mental anguish sometimes, but you have to find that balance so you will not burn out. And she has given us many tools just through her life of how you can recognize those red flags and not fall into that same trap. Okay. So continue to follow her and learn more about her journey. And as she continues to elevate in different areas, and maybe one day she'll have that book or that course. So I'll let y'all know if she does, okay? All right, so in the meantime, just know that if no one's told you today that you are loved and highly appreciated, I am telling you today, you are worth living here on this earth. You are loved and highly appreciated, and your voice matters. Your voice matters. And I just want you to know that no matter what happens, it can always be worse, and you're actually living someone's dream life. No matter how bad it is, you're living someone's dream life. So have some gratitude on that and know that it is time for you to move to the next level. Get out your head, okay? All right, so until next time, it's time to go. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go. Until next time, we're on the Sheila C Hill Show. Love, peace, hair grease. Have a wonderful day.